All right, guys, welcome to the after hours. Before we get into it, I need to get some water. Oh wait, actually, hang on. What's my layout? Oops. No, that's Greg.
Hi.
No, that's the old one. There we go. Hey. All right. So, let
Are
me.
we are we getting our guest in?
Yeah. Give me a second. I'm gonna go get I'm gonna get some water, and I'll come back get our guest in. Hopefully she's online. But yeah. So, in the meantime, Greg, entertain the chat while I'm away.
Okay. All right, that's enough of that. Joke ran its course real quick. Oh boy, this Star Wars conversation is going to be fun. I have never seen a year in which two stellar Star Wars things came out and it has caused so much dissension amongst the fans. I mean, it's kind of crazy. Just kind of crazy. Who boy. I'm looking forward to it though. I'm looking at pictures on my phone. Ugh. See if there's anything I can use. That's a jokey joke. Oh, that was pretty funny. So I have we were playing Friday the 13th the other night with my friends, and my friend died pretty quickly, like within the first 3 minutes, and I was running around as the female character that I like because of her skills. But I have the swimsuits on all the characters. So my friend is watching is spectating me running around as this female character in a swimsuit, and he puts it into our group message thing with that picture. And it says my name with the girl. I'll just show the picture to you so you can see it. See, it's right there, like that. So you see my name at the top, and you see the girl, and he puts in there. It's like, this is the definition of getting catfished.
Okay. So let me
Maybe
first
laugh.
put some music on. Also, I just realized that the Raiders lost, so I'm
Yeah.
a. What was the score by any chance?
Uh,
Let's see. Give me a second here. Let me put on some music. So it won't be
Let me go get some water as well.
Yes, do that. Do that. Well, I get some music
Sorry,
in here.
I was reading what Josh said. So Dallas was 4th and 1. Oakland appeared to stop them. Refs measured for a first. They were not sure. They slid an index card between the first down marker and the ball. The card touched the ball, and the marker gave Dallas the first down. Are you kidding me?
What?
Literally the smallest possible fraction.
Wow.
Are
That's
you
wow.
kidding me?
Wow. That's insane. Wow. That's insane. Wow. All right. Well, sucks to you be. Well, I say that, and then my Packers lost today, which I think we're still in it. Like we are. Well, depends on what happens tomorrow night, actually.
Oh
Um,
my god, I'm gonna go downstairs and kind of mention to my parents real quick and see their reaction. But Jesus Christ, that's insanity. All right,
that's
I'll be right
that's
back.
insane. All right. Okay, guys, give me 1 second here as I bring up the file. There we go. All right, guys. So let me actually get our person in here. So I'm gonna see Greg live here for a second. Gonna, and there he goes. Okay, so let me go get our friend. Let's see if I can add him in here. Let's see. Oops. Crapola. Give me a second here, guys. I need the screen. I can't see it right now. Add. Apple. Hang on. I need to see if she's online. Give me a second here, guys. Ah, come on, Firefox. Don't be like this. Hang on. No. Okay, that's weird. It's not responding now. All right. Well, Okay, so. Oh, there it goes. Oh man, it's super slow. Man, Man, my Firefox is eating up so much. So much. So much. Okay. Give me a second here, guys. So I set this up.
There's plenty more where that came from.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so where is my friend? Hey, get on Discord. What's your Discord name again? Okay, so while I'm getting her in here, I need to check my fantasy team because I might have actually pulled one out or get close. I don't think I won. Let me check. Yeah, okay, I thought so. Alright, well, yeah, it's, I guess, doable. Yeah, probably not. Oh. Oh, okay, that's fine. Alright, that's perfectly fine. Okay, so our special guest unable to join us because she is super tired. So.
Okay. Well, how about Josh?
Oh, I wasn't planning to have. All right, sure. All right, we'll bring him in here. Give me a second, guys.
It's up to you. I mean,
it's fine with me. It seems a little weird on the.
well, it's all. Well, also, Josh, do you want to, or do you just kind of want to sit and chat and
yeah,
relax?
Yeah, either or. It's up to you. And then while that's happening, let's do something else. Oh.
Because Josh and I did already kind of talk about it before we recorded our main podcast.
Right.
Greetings, people of the first quantum.
Okay, there we go.
My power be upon you.
I'm down for whatever you guys want to do. So, if you guys want to, if we want to have Josh in here to talk about Star Wars, then
Oh shit!
what?
Max G or Hot Diggity Demon, he just tweeted out, "If you liked Rogue One but you didn't like Last Jedi, you're a grade A nitwit."
Wow. Well, that's well.
Dropping the hard opinions.
Yeah. That's hard opinions. Hard opinions. The man who gave us the whole MLP weird ass animation. So I'm like, all right, sure. Yeah, but I guess we're gonna have Josh in here then. So Josh, I'll be here in a second. All right, so I'm to do some weird trickery when it comes to this then. But yeah, I have some thoughts about this movie, and yeah, I'll just leave it at that until we get Josh in here. So if we're gonna do this, obviously I think we should do like a non-spoiler and then spoiler. So, and then be like, hey, this is my thoughts. Yada yada. Hello, half empty E-Tank with the auto host of 10 viewers. You guys came in the right time.
That's not true.
Actually, you may be right on that one. Actually, you actually might be right on that one.
If you are coming from Half Empty E-Tank and you are in the chat, understand that we are about to talk Star Wars spoilers.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to figure out what I can do to maybe get them to host another person.
Don't host us. But if you're watching and you do want to stick around for the podcast, come join us in our channel. We're gonna talk about everything, or stay with Half Empty. That's cool too. But like, yeah, we're gonna talk about everything spoiler cast Star Wars. We're just waiting for somebody else to get on. Oh, okay, I got you, Josh. Give me a second. I need to update the title. Star Wars spoiler cast, MSP After Hours. Okay. There. So people would know when they come in here, it is spoiler time.
Oh shit, Valaire, what up with the hot burn?
I think I can add him through here. Let's see, add. On
Oh, and just to clarify something
Oops. Hang on. I'm gonna have to say that again. Sorry about that.
That's fine. Oh, Sloth like baby Ruth. What's with the camera going on?
Oh, hang
There
on.
we go.
There we go. Stop. There we go. Okay. So I don't think it matters if you see my OBS or not. Honestly,
Not at this time.
no.
I just want it for the
For the podcast.
yeah, so I know what's on screen and I know the timers.
Yeah. Okay. Give me 1 second. I gotta adjust this now.
What I was gonna say about Battlefront 2, the DLC content from Last Jedi, is I played Crate, which is a fantastic map actually, but I didn't play Dakar, and Dakar is where the rebel base was fleeing from at the beginning of the film. It felt like that was spoiler talk, but whatever. It's the planet from the very beginning of the film, and you can apparently play that in the Starfighter Assault.
That's cool.
So
It's weird how Discord just rips our video like that.
yeah, it's super bizarre.
I think the reason being because I'm not sure completely, but apparently when it gets to 3 people, it just does that. So because when me and Greg do it, we're fine. Like,
Oh, okay.
So I think it's just
Yeah.
I guess when it gets to 3 people, it does that. So
Fix your shit, Discord.
I would
Get
say
your goddamn shit together, Discord.
I would say like I think I'm just happy the fact we got video. We're not using Skype. So
Yeah.
so like yes, fix your shit, but at the same time like please do it when you can. No rush.
Yeah. I mean, it's not the worst thing.
I have a hot take on something, guys. I think one of the cutest things in the world to me is when there's a cute puppy next to a huge pair of boobs. Just being cuddled next to them is real nice.
All right, guys. If you're in here, if you're watching, we're going to do an entire spoiler cast on Star Wars The Last Jedi. I will give you mercy for about a good couple minutes and we'll probably just talk a little bit like, non-spoiler about, why we like the
So
movie.
here's what we'll do for non-spoiler. How, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, what'd you think, Anthony?
I think coming out of that movie, a 7.
It's gonna be a fun podcast. Josh, what would you say yours is?
Coming out of the theater, I thought an 8. However, after having about 2.5 days to process it, I'm actually going with a 9 at this point.
Wow.
Anthony, you and I are gonna have fisticuffs. Josh has my back. I left the theater at a 9, honestly. Like, but I think in that regard, like the more that I think about it, the more I love it. So it's getting higher up there. I mean, it does have its flaws, but it's not. I don't think the flaws are large enough to be concerning of any measure.
Yeah.
But I am interested to hear what your thoughts are, Anthony, because I feel like you're not going to be in the same ballpark that I've heard most of the complaints.
No,
Because most of the complaints for me, and I don't know what you've seen, Anthony, are my preconceived notions of what I thought the Force and how stuff works in the Star Wars universe were completely shattered by this movie. That complaint to me is such nonsense because it's like, you don't own Star Wars. Period.
Yeah, I honestly love the idea of what they're doing with the whole lore of Star Wars. I think that when I came away from the movie, that's one of the aspects I love about the film of The Last Jedi was the fact that it's really turning on its head on the whole lore of Star Wars and what exactly how the Jedis, the Siths, everything just kind of like it to go in a quote that Luke said, like, it's not going to be the way you think it is, or it's not going to go the way you think it is.
Everyone keeps saying that it turned it on its head, but it didn't turn it on its head. It expanded upon the canon that exists now.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, like, I was talking to my neighbors in the back, and they were just like, well, what about this book and what about this character? They were asking me about Call of Katarn. I was like, Call of Katarn's not canon anymore, guys.
Yeah, they've done that like before they did the movies, like when
pretty much anything that came out before 2013 is no longer canon. And they all were like, "Oh, the movies," and I'm like, "No, guys, everything other than the goddamn movies."
The extended universe is what they kind of asked.
I eventually got them to that point, but I was like the 6 movies, technically 7, and because if you count Clone Wars, which they do, so it counts.
Yeah, it's canon. We can't take that back.
It has to be. It has to be, because if Rebels is canon and Ahsoka Tano is canon within Rebels, then Clone Wars has to be canon.
Yep. As much as we don't want to, it is.
No, I don't mind it being canon. I think that Clone Wars is actually a phenomenal show. It just...
Oh, you're talking about the show? I thought you were talking about the movie. Okay. Yeah.
No, Attack of the Clones is garbage. No, I'm with you on that. I'm saying that no, the Clone Wars cartoon show was good.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, that was cool. But okay. Okay, do you want to expand more on the non-spoiler section, or is that about it?
Yeah, let's move on to spoilers.
Okay. All right, guys. So you've heard our very, very quick thoughts on the non-spoiler section of Star Wars, the Last Jedi. Now we're getting into the spoiler section. So last chance here. I'm giving it until the count of 5, and then that 40-second delay because it's Twitch. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Spoilers are on. Okay.
So do you want to move?
It's difficult to talk about this movie without spoiling it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So where do you want to start? Do you want to start at the very beginning of the film and kind of move towards the end, or do you just want to move around like hodgepodge?
Yeah. I think the beginning. I think there's one particular thing I would like to talk about, and it's the first thing I saw, and it looked so hokey and just looked so weird at the same time. Was the scene where Leia was out in space, and it looked like she was going to be dead. Like that's the way they're going to write her off, and it would definitely fit the tone of war, of like it sucks and it happens. And it was also kind of very. It would have been very early, but very, I'd say, in touch as far as like what would happen with her. But then suddenly she fingers start to twitch. It's like, okay, maybe, the dead body is still, grasping for air or whatnot. But then, like, it suddenly turned almost like Mary Poppins. Like, she, like, somehow, the Force...
Everyone keeps fucking saying that, and I don't agree at all.
Like, she's like, okay, in canon, yes, she does have... She's sensitively in tune with the Force, and that is canon to her. But the way it looked... Like the way that she, like her body and just like how she moved through space, like obviously it's CG, but it just looks so. It did not look good to me. Like obviously it's fake. Obviously it's not supposed to look real, or maybe it's supposed to, but it just looks so. Well, hokey.
There is 2 factors into why I think it looked hokey to everybody, and that's if we're talking about the actual physics of space. Her, like, the front of her body wouldn't have moved as if there was friction against her legs like air. I don't know why they chose her to make look like she was moving through air, because she wasn't.
Yeah.
If you're moving through space, like, your whole body's going to move as a whole. Like, even if it's the Force pushing you, like, unless it was, like, somebody grabbing her wrist and pulling her, which would have looked cool, I guess, to an extent.
Yeah.
Like that would have made her body kind of move the way that it did, but it didn't do that, and it made it look like she was moving through a frictioned area like it was air, which is why I think everybody kind of was like, ugh. Yeah. And I totally critiqued the movie for that, but that's not the complaint I'm hearing. Like, obviously the complaint I'm hearing is that why did she have powers in the first place? Like,
it's canon. Like, it's canon. Like that. Like if that's an argument, if people are complaining about, then I'm like, well, that's canon. That's
well,
actually,
yeah, people that complain about that and obviously never really paid much attention. She is a Skywalker,
right? Like Luke tells her in Jedi, you have the same powers I do.
Mm-hmm.
And in time, you'll learn to use these powers as I have.
Yeah.
It's only natural to assume in the 30 years that have passed, he's taught her a few things.
I would have liked this. Oh, there's an echo. Listen, yeah, lower down a little
Let me
bit.
turn down my PC speakers a little bit more.
Okay.
Hopefully it's not. I couldn't find my headset to engage those.
Okay. I was gonna say, it would have helped that she said something like when she got back on board, like, Luke taught me this, or I learned a few things from Luke, without saying a word.
No, absolutely not. Like I completely disagree with you on that.
It would have helped. It would have helped. Like
Why?
I think
Okay,
what would have
some
helped.
indication.
Anthony,
Some indication.
that's literally somebody feeding you your dinner instead of you taking the bite yourself.
I think what would have helped if they had just used a more dynamic angle in the filming of that scene. I didn't have a problem with her using the Force to save herself.
Yeah.
It's like I was saying to a friend earlier today when we were discussing it. After going back and processing it, in the split by that blast and sucks everyone out, she looks up and she braces herself like she's prepared. And, in the moment, you're like, oh, wow, did they just kill her? They just killed her. And then you see her just kind of float. And at first I was like, oh, it's Superman. But then it was like she was moving more like Magneto from the X-Men. And I think if they had done more of a dynamic thing, like just having her in a more action-oriented pose instead of just lying there lifeless and then twitching a little bit and then slowly moving towards it like she's moving through an atmosphere. If they had just had her, say, filmed her like just hurling herself or something like that toward the airlock, it would have made for a better, more accepted feel in that. Not the fact that she used the Force itself. I think it was just all the angle that they chose to go with.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, I completely agree with that. I think, the way that it looked just felt off, and I totally get that. But at the same time, like, I'm not hearing that complaint. I'm not hearing the logistics complaint of how it looked. Like, I'm glad you guys are saying that, and you're not saying that the fact that she was able to do it is weird in itself, because that's not, in my opinion, true at all. But the way the moment where it's like there's light behind her, and then her hand like opens up, and then her eyes open up, and then she flies towards the ship. It all looks a little too over dramatic, or and I totally get that. But there's not a whole lot of ways that you could have filmed that to make it what I think they were going for, and that's the dramatization of her being able to survive via the Force.
Yeah.
Like Josh, your idea is not too bad, but I don't think that it would have worked in lieu for what they wanted. You know what I'm saying?
No, I agree. I just think that it would have helped. I think the way they did it serves the film just fine after, sitting back and thinking about it.
Yeah.
I just think that the casual audience would have accepted it more.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the casual audience doesn't own Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And while it would have been better served in that regard, ultimately it's not better served for the actual storytelling. So I get it, and I've accepted it, and I'm totally fine with it. At first, that was my biggest complaint about the entire movie, and now I'm like, I accept it, because really, how's your body going to look when it's moving through space anyway?
True.
Well, people assume that space is so cold that you would immediately freeze, and that's not the truth at all. Scientifically speaking,
you have a few minutes to survive.
Yeah. Now, what's arguable is that she survived the explosion.
Yeah.
But then again,
that was
then again, we've seen some crazier shit in the Star Wars universe. So
yeah, that's true. Who knows? Maybe the Force was protecting her the entire time. So
that's maybe why she closed her eyes.
Possibly.
Yeah, like I said, she had that. You can see she has that split second of preparation and determination show up on her face.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Admiral Akbar and Everyone else on the
Yeah.
bridge did not.
Yeah, Admiral Akbar just kind of just like, oh, he died. Like, oh, okay. Nobody's gonna say anything about that. All right, move on, I guess. um, but just kind of go back real quick on the beginning of the movie, like the dogfight with with Poe. Especially the first beginning part where like he goes like in front of the I think it's called Dreadnought,
Yeah, the dreadnought.
where he's like talking to talking to
General Hux.
yeah, General Husk, and like he's like,
Hux.
hey, Hux,
like Huxtable, but just HUX.
Gotcha. He was talking to General Hux, and like I love the fact like it was basically like an answer machine, and like was psyching him out the entire time. Like that part was funny. That was good. I like that.
Yeah, a lot of I've seen criticisms on that too about like people not liking it because it seemed forced. And my thought process, I'm just like, nah, I disagree. I don't think it's forced at all. I think I just watched a whole YouTube video of someone taking. Anyway, no, this video's dumb. Anyway, people didn't like that scene because it seemed like they were forcing a joke or something to that effect, and I was like, well, yeah, like there's the distraction. Are you not paying attention to what's going on in the scene itself?
Yeah.
And Hux is absolutely like the type of man-child to.
I know, right?
to
Yeah.
not figure it out.
That's great. It's awesome.
It's also fitting with Poe's character. I mean, in the very beginning of The Force Awakens, and he's like taken to Kylo Ren. You know, he's like, "Who talks first? You talk first? Did I talk first?" You know, and then Kylo Ren says something. He's like, "What was that? I didn't get that with all the apparatus." You know, and he's obviously he is going to shit talk in the face of danger. That's what he does. The only thing I felt that was a little heavy-handed. You know, I like the fact that he's using humor to throw off Hux and make Hux, who obviously he wants to be feared and respected in front of his crew, and now he's being made to look a fool of in front of them, and it's undermining his authority. The only thing I felt was forced was like, you know, tell him I need to have a conversation about his mom. I was like, okay, throwing a mama joke in there, that was the one thing I thought was a little too far. Everything else was fine.
But it
was funny. I laughed.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was a funny scene, and then the action I kind of follow up with that was pretty cool. Like, you know, the dog fight scenes are always awesome to watch in Star Wars.
I thought Rose Tico's sister, like that whole scene was awesome to watch.
That was cool. That was
yeah,
awesome.
it was.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really cool.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. One thing, did you guys notice throughout the film? Did you ever hear anybody say, "I've got a bad feeling about this"?
So no, I think you told me, Josh, that somebody does say it.
Oh,
BB-8 actually says it during that dogfight to Poe when they're getting ready to, right after he cuts off the conversation with Hux, and they're getting ready to take on all the. They start flying towards the dreadnought and taking out all the ground cannons and everything. BB-8 starts, beeping something, and he's like, "No, this is a perfectly good thing to do," or something along those lines. And Ryan Johnson said, "Yeah, BB-8 said, I've got a bad feeling about this to Poe."
Yeah.
So it's giving you traditional Star Wars in a new way.
right.
And I'm like,
right.
I'm totally fine with that. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there is the argument that the line has run its course. Like, yes, it's a common line in every single Star Wars movie, just like the what's it called, the Wilhelm scream. But
yeah, the Wilhelm
Yeah.
scream. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like though that in Rogue One when K2SO went to say it, they're like, "Shut up,"
That's great. That's awesome. I don't mind it either way. So, it was a cool scene. It was definitely awesome. The trailers has definitely got me fooled because I thought like Kylo Ren was going to kill Leia, but ends up he doesn't. And they failed to kill her, but like I thought that was going to be a thing, and it kind of set the tone for his character too throughout the entire movie, as far as like how conflicted he was regarding the dark and the light side, and conflicting with himself. It's like do I, do I continue to obsess about, the dark side and what Darth Vader, what I love about him, or is there something, good within me, being the son of Han Solo, and yeah. Oh, thank you for the follow, by the way. I just got a new follow from Torsten. Thank you for the follow. Anyways, getting back to my point. So that the trailer did me good, and that I definitely have a different opinion about Kylo Ren now than I did prior. But in that scene, that definitely fooled me. But that entire battle scene was awesome. But soon afterwards,
I completely agree.
yeah. Soon afterwards, it then led into the scene that followed afterwards. Basically, like the remaining ships are now. They jumped the light speed out of there. They're thinking like we're safe, and then literally a couple minutes later, the entire fleet that was just attacking them were now right next to them. It's like, hey, we tracked these guys through our light speed, and it's like the question became to me like how, and apparently they have a tracker that can track the main ship. For some reason, they didn't explain that until later on.
It didn't need to be explained because it was just basically like, oh, the fucking giant ship that Snoke is on has a device that can track through
Hyperspace.
Hyperspace. Thank you. I couldn't think of it. I was like, yeah,
they just briefly touched on it. Finn was like, it's new technology they've been working on. They can track through hyperspace. And originally, I thought that maybe they had implanted every stormtrooper with some type of tracking device for location purposes, like load jacking.
Yeah.
But, I was like, well, that's a cool thing because it set up the whole Poe disobeying orders and then Finn Rose side mission.
Yeah. That would have been pretty cool, but no, they had some technology that was able to track them. At the moment I was like, how did it? And then like they explained, it's like, oh, that makes sense. But yeah, they tracked them. Now they're like, oh shit, now what do we do next? And they put whatever amount of energy left or fuel into their thrusters and able to just kind of be outside their realm. Which, in that aspect, like, a part of me is like, well, they're right there. I mean, they're within range. Why not send the fighters out to go and kill them? I mean, instead of just kind of sitting back and let the cannon shoot them.
So people were asking about that, like, why didn't the other ships go and start trying to destroy their ships? And one of the big reasons why they weren't doing that was because they wanted to. Oh my God! What did I read?
They wanted to.
It was something along the lines that the only ship in their fleet that could have caught up to the main ship was like their big, like the Star Destroyers and the fucking Snoke ship, which I can't remember the name of.
Mm-hmm.
And those ships basically move through space at the same speed. So they would not have been able to catch up. Yes, the First Order could have boarded the Rebel ships and and then tried to take over or whatever, and that would have gotten them destroyed. But General Hux, in his complete hubris, wanted to absolutely destroy them, not just board and take over or some to that effect, or kill them or take any prisoners. He had no interest in taking prisoners. He wanted to destroy them. And then on top of that, there's the argument that Snoke wanted Rey and knew that Rey was with the Resistance. So
also, too, it's just more sadistic to let them think that, okay, we can outstrip their speed to stay out of dangerous blaster fire. They're just going to pelt our shields. We can get away. But, okay, they can stay in range just enough until your fuel runs out and then just pick you off dead in the water. I mean, how demoralizing is that? Just thinking,
yeah,
you're going to die anyway. It's going to happen. Why waste the resources and the fuel for our fighters to come out and attack?
Yeah, it was absolutely. It was intending to show Hux's hubris. You know, Hux is trying to prove himself as the commander of this big post-imperial fleet, and how else is he going to do that and impress Snoke by being by doing what everyone else has done?
Yeah, true. In that context, you're all right. It was definitely in the back of my mind about
I mean,
what?
here's the thing, Anthony. Here's the thing. There's even a line of dialogue that explains this, where one of his generals, or one of the people that's right next to General Hux, is like, "Should we take TIE wings TIE fighters and board their ship?" And he's like, "No, just keep on course and keep pelting their ship."
Good point. Yeah, that is a very good point. I guess I failed to remember. But okay. What was it in a follow-up?
It's definitely a movie that, in your excitement and everything that's going on, it's hard to catch all those details and remember them all in the first day or two anyway.
But not impossible.
Not impossible.
Not impossible, yeah.
But a second viewing would definitely help out.
Yeah,
and I
absolutely.
I think so too, yeah. I was gonna say,
I personally believe that this Star Wars movie will go down as one of the best Star Wars movies like ever. As of right now, it's not, but give it a few years and maybe 10, 15, it'll be different.
Time will tell. Time will tell on that one. Time will tell.
One of the things that I have heard, people are like, well, this new trilogy, it's mirroring the original trilogy because Force Awakens mirrored A New Hope, so this one's going to mirror Empire. I'm like, well, whose rule is that? Whoever said that? And at first, the beginning of this is like, you remember, Empire opened up with the Imperials found the rebels and they're hounding them and making them evacuate their base. And then this one's opened up. It's like the First Order's found the Resistance, and they're making them evacuate their base. It's like, well, shit, I guess it is going to mirror it. But that was the end of it. Nothing else was really mirrored from Empire after that, and that feeling was gone.
Yeah, and just to kind of back what I was saying during the podcast, or during the pregame show, I really enjoy what they're doing with the lore. I love the fact that they're really twisting it and they're really putting it on its head and put it on a different take on the Star Wars mythology, and what is good, what is bad. It's the light side, really the light side. It's the dark side, really the dark side. It's really putting those into questions, especially when they're when they talk about it when they're on the casino, and they're picking up that master coder, quote unquote, and he's going through the different people who has the ship that we're on, as far as who owns the ship, and they showed they're doing deals with the Republic and with the Rebellion, and they were doing it on both sides. They're selling the ships to both sides, and it makes some questions is this really? At the end of the day, it's just it's the same thing. So
it's not all black and white. You got to look at all the shades of gray, and you either choose a side or you live free.
Definitely.
And
I was going to say, it's definitely, and that's what I love about it. That's what I love about this movie. And a lot of people who have criticized it, and that's one of the things that they really do not like about this movie, the fact that it's doing just that. It's really messing with the thing that they've been living their childhood.
I keep telling people, you go into this movie with preconceptions of what you think the Star Wars lore is, and you're going to be disappointed. Straight up.
See, for me, I love that it shattered all my preconceived notions. I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Fair enough. And you're not wrong, Josh, in that there are going to be people who enjoy that because I did. But I think that's where a lot of people's discontention comes from. It is the fact that their preconceived notions were shattered. That everything they thought they knew turned out to not be the case. So they in turn didn't like it.
Right. And even if they decided to do the same thing with Star Wars Episode 7, mirror but tweaks to the original 4, 5, and 6, then people would say, oh, it's just a rehash of Empire, rehash of Episode 4. You guys are not doing anything risky. You're just basically a carbon copy. And funny enough, I saw a picture. I think you retweeted it, Greg, where Brian O'Tano tweeted out Episode 4 was, or episode 7. You know, it was it was playing it too safe, and it was a rehashing of 4. Episode 8, it was taking too many risks, and people hate it. Like, and Han Solo like doing this, so it's like,
Yeah.
It's gonna either way. It's gonna get its crap either way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm 100%. Like, I mean, I knew that there wasn't going to be 100% of people that were going to enjoy it, much like with Force Awakens. Did I think it was going to be literally 50-50? No, not by a long shot.
Yeah.
You know, 80-20 at best. But that's what happens when you have, like, you know, one of my friends did make a very valid point, and he was like, I don't think this movie would have gotten as much hate if it was like Rogue One was successful because it was not a numbered part of the trilogy. It did different shit. It did different shit and was not part of the main storyline.
Mm-hmm.
This did different shit, but was part of the main storyline, which is why I think there's such hatred towards it. For me, that is the exact opposite. I love that it was different. I love that it was not the same, and I think there's a lot of people that share my opinion. I mean, it sounds like you guys do.
Yeah.
I
was gonna say, like, there's definitely. So right after I watched the film, I definitely went on, like, people I followed and like listened to what their thoughts were regarding the movie, and there's one thing that maybe is me just blindly liking this film just because I want to like it and I don't want to particularly put or nitpick certain parts of the film, but I cannot deny the fact there is so many plot holes in this movie.
Like what?
Okay, so
because I didn't see any fucking plot holes, but everyone keeps saying that there's plot holes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think everything was pretty solid, but yeah, let's.
Because if you're seeing plot holes, maybe I can prove to you that there wasn't.
Oh, it's up, Ron. Welcome to the spoiler cast of
Hello.
Star Wars. So one of the examples of one of the plot holes was, okay, so when they were on the ship, or when after Poe comes back, they took down a dreadnought at the cost of losing a lot of people. So they're back on the ship, and then Leia is injured, so she's in the infirmary. She's recovering. So the new commander, I forgot what's her name.
Holdo,
yes. So she is now in control, and one of the things that eventually she did reveal later on was like, oh, the entire plan was to go into these little ships, and they're so small they can't be detected by the rebellion. So we can go off into this one planet that has a former base of the rebels that we can use and protect ourselves and to build again. And throughout the entire that tension, as far as like her and Poe, as far as like she not telling Poe the entire time, like why is she doing this? Like why? Like if
you realize why, right?
Well, like. Yeah, why exactly? Like, you explain to me, because like if she would have told Poe like at that time, like, hey,
it's simple. She doesn't know who the mole is, because at this time they think it's a mole, not something on the main ship that can detect them. They don't know how the First Order found them through hyperspace. They don't know, and at this point, the best option they have, because ships can't detect other ships through hyperspace, is there's a mole.
But did they even detect? Even like, I'm gonna say, did they even like mention that in the film? Because
there was conversation between a few characters that said, like, we don't know what it is. It could be somebody on the ship or something, or some new technology they have.
Also, too, he had also, as Leia's last official command she was present for, he was demoted. So he also was lower rank and not in the need to know for the immediate plan.
Yeah, Holdo and him were not seeing eye to eye to begin with, so why is she going to tell him anything?
Good point. But that didn't lead to a mutiny, to attention that potentially could have been like disastrous for them.
again, they don't know. They have no idea who's the mole. And if the ships are detecting big ships, not the small ones, not the escape pods or whatever, and the mole finds out that they're gonna escape on escape pods, that's a problem.
Huh. I need to watch this movie again. Apparently, there's so much other details that apparently, if that's true, then it's like, oh, okay, that
It
explains.
also serves as good character development for Poe because Leia confronts him because of his rash decision making, defying orders. It cost them unnecessary loss of life and major monetary cost in losing their bomber fleet when taking on the dreadnought when she told them to evacuate.
Yep.
It helps to serve his to show him humility and to trust in his leadership and to learn to be a leader himself. But instead, you have him concocting this plan and not telling anyone about it, saying, this is a need to know basis and no one needs to know. Let's do this, and sending Finn and Rose out to find this code slicer like they do.
Which was also rash
serves,
and...
It shows the first thing we've ever seen in a Star Wars movie, the Rebels actually failing against overwhelming odds.
Yeah.
When have we ever seen that before?
That's true. I feel like Poe in that situation where like people are dying, like ships are being destroyed. Like, tell me what's going on. Like, what is the plan? Like, why? Like, are you just gonna sit here and die? Like, I feel exactly like Poe in that situation, and
You're supposed to.
I think you're meant to, and that's good.
well, if there was an intention, then they got me for sure.
They got me too because I was frustrated for Poe. I was like, I kept thinking like, why aren't they telling him anything? And then it dawned on me like at a certain point, especially when Leia came back, I was like, oh, like he's on a need to know basis and he doesn't need to know. I got it, understood.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
I also like the fact when she gets up out of the infirmary and he's staged his little mutiny and everything, and she comes into the bridge there. She stuns him with the same blaster she had at the beginning of A New Hope.
That was that was a nice little touch.
That was a nice little touch. I didn't realize that at the moment. That's cool.
I think the blaster was turned up full blast because he got fucking thrown against the wall hard.
He did.
He got hammered.
So throw another plot hole that you want us to destroy for you.
Okay. I'll go in the order as far as like how I get there. So because I want to talk about the whole side story or the side mission that Finn and Rose went on. So I'm okay with the whole side mission thing that they were trying to do and kind of succeeding, because like in real life things don't always work out as they seem, and this is one of those cases where like they went out to trying to find the master coder. They didn't get the master coder per se, but they got somebody else that apparently is also really good at decoding stuff. But like it definitely was like a situation where like, was this a waste of time? No, not really, because it kind of was, but at the same time like shit happens and like not everything comes together, as the quote says, or as the cliche goes. So I'm okay with that. The thing that people are saying about that particular scene and people why I think it's dumb, is it kind of harkens back to the kind of prequel type of feel. A lot of CG, all these characters that were in this casino.
What's funny about that, Anthony, is that 60% of that scene was practical.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What? Really? Oh, all right.
The giant horse things were CG. A few of the tinier creatures were CG. Like the guy throwing coins in BB-8 was CG. But almost everything else was practical.
Wow, that's cool.
Makeup was makeup, animatronics, yada yada yada, so on and so forth.
I'm okay if it was kind of weird seeing a kind of a political statement in. Well, I'm not surprised, honestly.
Every fucking Star Wars movie's made a political statement of some kind.
So yeah, this is another example. It's just like, hey, these are, because Rose was saying like, these are the worst people in the world, like, and they were like, the rich. I love the fact that she said that, and the second shot is like an alien with a white mustache twirling around like a rich white rich alien, and I was like, oh, that's funny. I see what you did there. But like, I'm okay with that particular scene, like in terms of like what they done. Like, I think that one. I think the little, I guess, humanitarian thing that at the very end where she's like, where like Finn was like, I can't remember the exact lines, so I'm paraphrasing, like this was not worth it, or and Rose takes the saddle off of the, what do you call it, the horse alien. It's like, and then she goes off, like, now it's worth it. I was like, okay. I mean, isn't the bigger cost right now is like the war? Like, I mean, sure, like a humanitarian thing, that's fine.
Not well to her at the moment. No, I mean, to her at the moment, she came from a planet in which the First Order and the War Profiteers kind of fucked everything, and that leads into the final scene of the movie itself, where all those kids who had seen what Finn and Rose did. Turn out to have force powers. The little boy grabs the broom without touching it. Mm-hmm. Their entire purpose on that planet was for that, which will lead into the next movie.
Which unintentionally they did, but like, yes, it does set up the fact that like there's a new generation of rebels that are going to come.
Not just rebels, but new force users.
Yes.
Like, that's an important aspect to keep in mind when it comes to what that was all supposed to represent. Plus, like, what fucking Star Wars movie would we have if we didn't have a scene where they go into an area with a bunch of fucking aliens?
That's true. They want to make good use of that CGI at some point.
Well, there's nothing wrong with CGI in a Star Wars movie.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's bad.
I know you're not saying it. This is me arguing with the internet. I think when people see that scene, like, I remember watching it in the theater, and immediately my thought was like, people are gonna fucking hate this shit. They're gonna compare it to the sequel.
Yep.
And it's simply because of the fact that it's not like I don't mind a scene with a bunch of aliens in a bar or whatever, but when it's like when it looks like this, and I'm like, when it looks like what? Not dirty and grimy and gross. Yeah, because that's what we need every fucking time, huh?
I was hoping like in that casino scene when the music was playing that they'll cut a shot of the Cantina band and like them like together again and them playing whatever music it is at the time. Like, I thought at some point it was going to lead into that, but it didn't.
Like an aged fingering Dan in the nodal nodes,
Yes,
but be like playing symphony music and having like white hair instead.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd have been funny.
Yeah, that'd been funny, but at the same time, there was already a lot going on. I don't think anything additional would have. That would just be some fan service that would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't feel like, and that's the thing about this movie too, is it gave absolutely no fan service, which I think is why so many people hate it.
That's true. That's true.
This movie was anti-fan service. It gave absolutely no shits what you thought you knew about Star Wars, and just went to a different place entirely.
Definitely.
Like, I've heard people say they hate the fact that the entire they hate the fact that more than half of the movie is a slow space chase, or more than half of the movie is Rey trying to convince Luke to come help, or this side story that is so weird with Rose, and people are saying that Rose is as annoying as Jar Jar, and I'm just like, you're fucking high.
Yeah,
that is so incorrect in my opinion.
Yeah, she was not annoying to me at all. I mean, she was an idealist. She wanted to believe. She helped Finn find out who he really is, because all through The Force Awakens, Finn wants to run away, but he doesn't. When his friend is in danger, he stands his ground. But in this, what was he going to do? How did he come about? He was getting ready to run away again.
Mm-hmm.
And, he finally is like, you know what? He embraced it. He's like, especially when he came face to face with Captain Phasma, and she calls him FN-2287 scum. He's like, that's rebel scum. That was awesome.
That's cool. That's cool. I would say real quickly is like it makes it easier to do that as Finn to not run away when you have an electronic thing that stabs you right in the chest. So just saying.
What?
When Rose poked him with the stick or whatever, the electronic thing that stunned him.
Oh yeah. Cattle prodded him.
yeah, because he was gonna run away again. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
I want to briefly talk because I gotta go in a few minutes here, so I want to kind of wrap up a few things here.
Oh, okay.
People hate the Force shenanigans in this movie. People hate how the Force is being used in this movie because they thought they knew how the Force was being used. But if you pay attention to the other Force or the other movies, like the Force has actually been used kind of that way in all the movies. It's just, like the Force Awakens kind of showed that in this particular context, the Force is super strong between Rey and Kylo. So it stands to reason that they would be able, because here's the thing. If you remember, Anakin is able to see things but not communicate. And then Luke is able to actually communicate with Leia, but vaguely. Now Rey is able to directly have conversations with Kylo.
Yeah.
And remember when he says, "How are you doing this?" And she's like, "I don't know." He said, "You can't be doing this. It would tear you apart."
Yeah.
And
then
and then Snoke reveals, "Oh, well, it was me that opened up that bridge." So it shows how much power he actually has.
Yeah.
But her, it would tear her apart. And then, later on, when you see what happens with Luke showing up on Crate and the whole throwdown between him and Kylo Ren.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody goes like, what killed him exactly? Was it the fact that was it just too much strain, or was it that he was at peace with the Force? And I'm like, yes, all the above.
Do the astral projection of himself to not only just Kylo Ren, but everybody. Everybody was seeing Luke. It wasn't just Kylo Ren. Because when he walked in and I noticed he's trimmed his beard, he's cut his hair. Holy shit, he's there. And I was like, no, this is an astral projection of Luke because he's talking to Leia. And then he hands her Han's dice from the
I actually didn't pick up that it was an actual projection until
I didn't either. Because after he's leaving her, he walks by 3PO and 3PO's like, "Master Luke," and he looks at 3PO and gives him a wink. I was like, oh shit, he's really there.
Yeah.
And then I thought he had grown in his mastery of the Force so much that he just withstood that barrage of
that was so badass too.
The laser blasts from all those walkers.
The dust off the shoulder thing was rad.
That was
and then he just looks at him. He's like,
I was like, oh, this is gonna be sick.
And then he's doing Matrix moves when Kylo's trying to cut him down. I was like, oh my god, this is Luke Skywalker getting the throw down. And then he's just like, when he cuts through him, I was like, no, that didn't just happen. And he just walks over. He's like, see you around, kid. And I was like, oh, that's when I realized it was the astral projection. And then that's when I realized he's sitting there, he's hovering, sitting cross-legged in the air, projecting himself across light years through the galaxy. And it was that strain where he just made the conscious decision. He's like, all right, I'm going to become one with the Force.
Yep.
And
use that piece at that point. That was another thing. The thing I want to talk about briefly before I have to go. I can't remember her name. The woman who played Holdo. Laura Dern now shares one of my top favorite moments in Star Wars, and that's her hyper speeding through Snoke's ship.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was so amazing.
Oh man,
sick. How my jaw dropped. I was like, oh shit.
I was like, she is not going to be able to ram that ship in time. They're going to pick her apart before she gets there. But no, when she kicked it into hyperdrive,
There was
oh,
a
shit.
throwaway line. There was a throwaway line that there was enough fuel for a hyperdrive jump.
Yeah.
And so the second she started turning towards the ship, I was like, she's gonna hyperdrive through them. Yes, this answers my question of what would happen if that happened.
It's so good. It was like a shotgun blast, like to all the ships at the same time. I was like, oh, this is awesome.
Yeah, I was watching something and somebody was like, well, why haven't they just been doing suicide runs like that before? That's just dumb. Why couldn't they just take an X-Wing? And I'm sitting there thinking, if you think about it, an A-Wing did take out the bridge of the Executor in Return of the Jedi, but, that's a last-ditch effort, and that's also not something that's going to happen all the time. And you're looking at a poorly funded alliance of rebels. They're not going to be able to afford to just kamikaze ships like that.
Yeah.
Also, we're talking
that's
about
a last-ditch effort.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and also at the same note, on the same note, we're talking about a series of movies that came out before that somebody I'm glad somebody thought of it now, but it was thought of now and not before. So why would they retroactively add that in? That's such a weird comment to make.
Yeah. So
it should be pretty blatantly obvious why it was put in now and not earlier. But
yeah.
I'm glad Josh, you put the spin on lore wise why it was now and not earlier. But I think for the sake of for that it should be pretty damn obvious. But
also, before you go, did you notice when the Resistance, they've had the shit kicked out of them? The First Order just totally kicked their shit. The entire Resistance is now on the Millennium Falcon. Did you notice that when Finn is going to assist Rose in the medical bunk, when he opens up that drawer, did you notice what was in that drawer?
I did, but I don't remember. I remember
Rey
noticing at the time
the sacred Jedi text from the tree.
That's right. Yes.
Rey has all the books.
Yep.
So she has the knowledge of the Jedi in those texts. Page turners were they?
guys, don't be surprised if in 2 years we get a Star Wars movie that actually takes place 7 to 8 years in the future.
I was going to say, probably 10 years down the line, it would make sense for some time to advance. I want to see Luke as a Force Ghost showing up to be like a mentor here and there. But even if he doesn't, they have an out because she has the books.
Yep.
That makes sense too, of that shot at the...
And a time jump would make sense because they could say, General Organa has passed away.
Yep.
They can address that.
That her injuries from the explosion.
Yeah, something.
Gotta build up those resistance numbers, yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say I thought that Carrie Fisher was gonna die in this film, to write her off, but she survived. So I'm assuming that they have enough of her footage for the next one, or they'll write something that pertains to her death in the third one, in the next one. So, but yeah,
have we changed your score at all, Anthony?
I think it's one of those cases where I actually have to watch again because there's definitely some details where people are nitpicking and I'm listening, and they are making sound arguments that why didn't they do this? Why didn't they that? And if most of those are answered in the film, and many people didn't catch it the first time around, then that might be better if I were to catch it the second time to stand.
And then we also just pick those nitpicks apart.
Yeah.
Yep.
So as of right now, I still feel at a 7 right now. I still like the film. I love the fact what they're doing with the film, the lore. I love the connection that Snoke did between Rey and with Ben Kenobi.
Kylo Ren.
Kylo Ren, but
Ben Solo.
Ben Solo. Sorry, Ben Solo.
I legit found very, very little wrong with this movie. It to me is just under Empire.
Wow.
For me, it is just under Empire and neck with Rogue One. And honestly, after I see this another time or two, will probably pass Rogue One as my second favorite all-time Star Wars movie.
That's wow.
Yeah, I already put my list in the Discord chat of Heat, and I was like, here's my list. Here's my rundown of my Star Wars movies. If I can find it real quick while I'm just kind of talking about things. Jesus Christ, it's up
See,
here.
Hutch, that's the way I felt at first. But after I processed it for a couple of days and went back and reevaluated and played it over in my mind, I have grown to like it more than when I initially walked out. When I walked out, I was like, well, it could have been a 9, but I'm going to give it an 8. No, now I'm giving it a solid 9. It is just behind Empire for me, and right there with Rogue One.
So here's my list. I found it. So I said Empire Strikes Back, Last Jedi, Rogue One, Return of the Jedi, Force Awakens, Revenge of the Sith, A New Hope, Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones.
I think my list is pretty much spot on with that, except that I have Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens reversed.
Return of the Jedi and Force. Oh, okay, gotcha.
I would have to think about that one for a while. It's like what my list would be, honestly. It probably is one of those cases where I gotta rewatch again and just like, because I'm definitely hearing a lot of people who are nitpicking particular moments that, like, you again, just like, hey, why did they do this? Why did they do that? Which makes logical sense, but then, you know, maybe it was in the movie that I didn't pick up or many others didn't pick up as well. So it might be one of those type of movies where I have to watch it twice or maybe 3 times just to get all the details regarding what I didn't see the first time around. But again, I'm saying that I'm liking like I said, I like the film. I think that initial gut reaction was like, there's a lot of plot holes in this movie. There's a lot of things that they could have they could be easily fixed, but they didn't. I really, really wish they could have done so much more with Phasma. She's such a badass character, but then there's no dead bodies, so it's more presumably she'll be back in the third one.
Well, also she's the Boba Fett of the series.
She is,
like,
pretty much,
even more so than I thought. But overall,
I think I said that to you after Force Awakens.
Did you?
I'm pretty, because I said it. I know that I said it about Force Awakens, but I don't remember who I said it to.
Gotcha. Overall, I think the film is great. I love what direction it's going towards. Again, twisting the lore I think it's great. And it makes sense.
Well, it's funny you say twisting lore, and I hate that term because it's not twisting anything.
it's expanding.
Expanding, twisting, it's all the same to me.
Well, twisting would say that there was preconceived notions about what you thought the Force was or you thought was going on, and they twisted it. And what I'm saying is that they didn't twist it because it wasn't written yet.
I guess the proper word I should say is modernizing it. It definitely
not even then.
Like it to me it what it reminds me of is just like the generations of us of you know how there's like the baby boomers, the Y generation, our generation, and how we're so different, and how we do things are different than what the last generation did things. I'm thinking of that context when it comes to.
Gotcha. Yeah, sure. You have to do that. You have to, like, when making a. Like I said that about Force Awakens. You know, you kind of have to bring it up to date.
Right, and the next generation of Jedi or whomever are going to be a different type of people. That's why, like, you know.
That's why I just say Force users now. I don't say like Jedi or Sith, because at this point, like, there's not a whole lot there, and Luke didn't really teach. Luke didn't really teach Rey much about Jedi themselves. I mean, yeah, she has the books, but
yeah.
I don't think it'll be Jedi versus Sith anymore, especially with Snoke being dead.
Agreed. Which that part just jaw dropped me. I was like, holy shit, they actually did that.
I did. Yeah, I'll admit, I did not think killing off Snoke, and they just straight up did. I was like, okay, yeah. But arguably, he might not even be technically dead.
That's true.
That whole throne room fight between Rey and Kylo teaming up against the Praetorian Guard, that was so awesome.
The idea, the fact that they would possibly team up afterwards to, like, hey, let's just forget everything and let's do our own thing. That would have been insane. I would have actually loved it. Like, I mean, not
I'm
so
glad
now,
they
but-
didn't go that route, though. I locked in the moment. You know, she's fighting alongside him because she thinks I've done it. I've turned him. He's doing it because he's like, I just now attained everything I ever wanted. And he's like, you can be a part of this. Come with me. And a whole Vader to Luke moment there. But she's like, no. And then, of course, the whole hyper space slicing the ship apart happened.
Yeah.
And now it's just like she knows there's no redemption in him, and he knows that there's no turning her. The battle lines have been drawn, and oh man, I'm really intrigued to where episode 9 is going to go, and I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, I mean, as far as we know, like there literally is like only one tie left to tie, and that's basically Kylo Ren versus Rey, and of course Rey's gonna win because it's the Star Wars film and it's Disney.
No, I mean, that's not true. I mean, there's the whole Resistance versus the First Order that needs to be tied up. There's
You know,
There's
what's
the,
going to happen with the next generation of Force users? Is
yeah,
there going
those
to be a
kids.
school?
Yeah.
Plus, you don't know what happened to those. Remember when Luke said he attacked and killed some of my students and left with a handful of them? I don't remember how many he said he
the Knights
left
of
with.
Ren,
the Knights of
That's
Ren,
gonna-
yeah.
that's gonna
We
be
don't
really
know
cool.
if they are the Knights of Ren, and we don't know if they turned out to be the Praetorian Guard, and they probably weren't.
I doubt they were. They were not well versed in the Force at all. So I
No,
don't
but
think
they
they were
just
at all.
they were well versed in close quarters combat with melee weapons that were lightsaber resistant, but they weren't Force users.
Right. Definitely. But we're not gonna keep you here, Greg, for too long. But school for the gifted youngsters.
There you go.
Yes. Xavier is gonna come out in his wheelchair and gonna teach all the.
I'd be
new
down.
Jedi.
I'd be down.
I mean, technically, they are part of the universe now, so the cinematic universe. But yeah, we're not gonna keep you too much here, Greg, 'cause I know you gotta go off.
How
guess-
funny was grumpy old man Luke just milking that moof?
That was
I'm going to call it a
weird.
moof.
That
That was
So-
just funny, and he just curmudgeonly takes a swig of blue milk and grins at her. That was hilarious.
That was weird. I mean, I get it why they put it in there, but that was just weird to see.
Yeah, he's a grumpy, bitter old man
What?
and he cut himself off from the Force, and which explained why he didn't know that Han died. He explains why he didn't know anything that was going on.
Why
he had
was-
learned to cut himself off from the Force?
Yeah.
Why was Thank You Bob Iger restricted by Automod?
I have no clue. Automod, I don't know. Our Automod's weird. It's learning. It's learning. I think it's the first time I actually had to actually approve anything. So our bot is learning. Our bot's literally like maybe 1 year old. So give it
Alright,
time.
I'm gonna go, guys, because I want to. There's a friend that wants to call me about Star Wars, and I know that he wants to talk to me very badly, and I don't have a lot of time, so
All right.
I'm gonna let you guys go.
Okay, I think we said our piece about Star Wars. And yeah, if you got again, thank you for guys who are here for the podcast, and for those who want to hear for a spoiler cast. Well, there you go, Star Wars spoiler cast. Our thoughts on everything Star Wars. So, with that being said, thank you guys again. There'll be no show next week. Apparently I'm back before the end of the year, so we'll have one more show before the end of the year. But
We'll plan something for our New Year show.
definitely.
We'll either do it before the actual it'll be the 30th and be a regular show, or it'll be the 31st and it'll be we'll actually go and when 9 o'clock hits, we'll count down each time zone.
Yeah, definitely. So
Yeah, guys, thanks for having me on.
oh,
I
yeah,
enjoyed
yeah,
it.
no problem.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no problem. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.